Hi, so we're going to go over what we learned yesterday about volume. So remember, volume is length times width times height. And because of the commutative property, it doesn't matter which order they are in. So I'm going to start with this paper. It says, the volume of each bead is blank centimeters. So I actually need to read this first part. It says, Tony stacks cube-shaped beads that measure 1 centimeter on each edge in a storage box. The box can hold 6 layers of 24 beads with no gaps or overlaps. What is the volume of Tony's storage box? So each bead, if each edge is 1 times 1 times 1 is 1 centimeter cubed. The storage box has a base area of blank centimeters squared. Because remember, squared would mean area, so that would be length times width. So it's going to be, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the base is going to be 24 centimeters squared, and it has a height of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the base would be 6 times 4, or okay. So the base area, this is kind of confusing. We could just multiply 6 times 4 times 6, or we could know that this is 24. That would be the base area, so that would be 24 times 6. So if we do 6 times 6 times 4, we could do 36 times 4, or we could have done 24 times 6. Let's do 24 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 would be 14. So 144 centimeters cubed would be the answer. Another way to do it is the base has a length of 6 centimeters. A width of 4 centimeters, and the height is 6 centimeters. So it would have been 6 times 4, or 24, or not, kind of what we just did. Or 24 times 6, or 144. So either way, you're going to get 144. You could have multiplied 6 times 4 times 6, or you could have multiplied the base times the height. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so this is saying the length of a rectangular prism is, and I don't know if you can I'll make that bigger, is going to be 4. The width is 5. So the base area, the length times the width would be 20, and the height is 6. 20 times 6, I know 6 times 2 is 12, and then add a 0. Same thing, I'm just multiplying length times width times height. It's really hard to see the way I took the picture. This is a 3. So 3 times 2 times 3, or 3 times 6 is going to give me 18. Remember, it's centimeters cubed because you're multiplying length times width times height. And if I erase this, 1 times 2 times 6, or if I do the length times the width, 2 times 6 is 12, and 12 times 1 is 12, so it's 12 inches cubed. We're going to skip that. So the important thing to remember is base. You can either do the base times the height. See how it's a big B because it's the length times the width? Or you can just do length times width times height. Either way. So we have 12 times 2 times 4. So we could multiply 12 times 2 times 4, or we can multiply the base, which would be 24 times 4. 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So that's going to be 96 inches cubed. Let's do this one. Remember, we can do length times width times height, or we can do the length times the width, which would be the base, times the height. So we can do 5 times 8 times 3, or we can do 5 times 8 is 40 times 3. That makes it easy. 4 times 3 is 12, add a 0. So you're going to get 120 inches cubed. Next one, 6 times 6 times 4, or I could do 6 times 6 would be the base times the height, so 36 times 4, or I could have done 6 times 6 times 4, but either way, 36 times 4, 4 times, I think that's, yeah, 4 times 6 is 24, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 would be 144, so 144 feet cubed. Let's do these word problems. Kind of hard to see the way I took the picture, so I'll read it to you. Aaron keeps his baseball cards in a cardboard box that is 12, I usually draw a picture, which is 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, and 3 inches high. What is the volume of the box? So length times width times height. So 12 times 8 times 3. So I know 12 times 8 is 96, so I'm doing 96 times 3. 96 times 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 is 28. So 288 inches cubed. Because remember, it's cubed because it's base, it's length times width times height. Amanda's jewelry box is in the shape of a cube. If it's the shape of a cube, if you know anything about cubes, all of the sides are the same. So it says that has 6-inch edges. So it's 6 times 6 times 6. Or, so if I do that, length times width times height. So 6 times 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36, so 36 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. So you're going to get 216 feet cubed. Okay, last. Okay, it says Lonnie uses 1-inch cubes to build the box shown below. What is the volume of the box? So 3 times 2 times, I know that's hard to see, that's an 8. So length times width times height. Length times width times height. So 3 times 2 times 8. I try to do what I know fast. I know 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 times 8 is 48. So it's 48 inches cubed, because remember, it's length times width times height. This is really hard to see. Mason stacked 1-foot cubed shaped boxes in a warehouse. What is the volume of the stacks of boxes? So it's 8 feet by 6 feet by 4 feet. So length times width times height, or 8 times 6 times 4. I quickly know 6 times 4 is 24, so 8 times 24, or 24 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 2 is 16, 17, 18, 19, so 192. 192 feet cubed. Next question, what type of triangle is shown? Remember, when you're doing triangles, you're remembering based on the angles, and it can either be acute if it's less than 90, obtuse if it's greater than 90, think of obese, and right if it is 90. Think of the side lengths. It could be scalene if no sides are the same, isosceles if 2 of the sides are the same, or equilateral if all of the sides are the same. So I have to look at this one. Based on the angle, I see right away it's a right triangle. And remember, these dashes tell me something. So this has a 1, this has 2 dashes, this has 3. That means none of them are the same. So it's going to be a right scalene. What quadrilateral has 4 congruent angles and opposite sides that are congruent and parallel? 4 congruent angles means angles are the same. Remember, we said that a rectangle means that all angles are the same. So that would be a rectangle, which is also true because in opposite sides that are congruent and parallel. That is correct. Suzanne is 64 inches tall. What is Suzanne's height in feet and inches? So she's 64 inches tall, and we want to move it to feet. So you have to think of what is bigger, an inch or a foot. A foot is bigger. So I'm going fly to horse, divide of course. And I know there are 12 inches in a foot. So 64 divided by 12. If I count up my 12s, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. So the most I'm going to go in is 5. So she's going to have 4 left over, remainder 4. Or 5 feet, 4 inches. So 5 feet, 4 inches. And last question. Trevor bought 8 gallons of paint for his house. He used all but 1 quart. How many quarts of paint did he use? So first off, I have to figure out 8 gallons is how many quarts. So I think of Gallon Kingdom, and in the Kingdom of Gallon, there are 4 quarts. So I know I'm going horse to fly, multiply, and I know that there are 4 quarts in a gallon. So 8 times 4 is 32. So he bought 32 gallons, or 32 quarts, excuse me. He used all but 1 quart. How many quarts of paint did he use? So he used 31 quarts. Okay, that's it for today.